This is Kellyanne Conway. She's Trump's campaign manager turned senior White House advisor. And a big part of her job for the past 8 months has been defending Trump in TV interviews.
There is no den she will not go into.
That may sound like the hardest job in the world, but Conway is ridiculously good at dodging tough questions. And it drives her interviewers crazy.
Kellyanne, that's not what I asked.
You're trying to distract from my question.
You're answering the question I'm not asking. The question is...
So, how does she do it? What makes Kellyanne Conway such a nightmare to interview? Last December, ABC's George Stephanopoulos asked Conway a very simple question. Why does Trump falsely claim that voter fraud cost him the popular vote?
That claim is groundless. Isn't it irresponsible for a president-elect to make false statements like that?
Watch how Conway answers.
I think it's groundless for talk about fake news. The fake news is that somehow the popular vote is more important than the Electoral College vote now.
You catch that? Instead of answering, Conway goes in a totally different direction. Stephanopoulos tries again.
No one is questioning the victory. I said, is it appropriate, is it responsible for a president-elect to make false statements like that?
And again, Conway dodges.
Well, first, many people are questioning the victory. You've got people spending millions of dollars wasting money and time in the Clinton and Stein camps.
It's so frustrating. It's like watching someone try to staple Jell-O to a wall. I needed to talk to an expert, someone who had truly mastered the dark arts of verbal combat.
Hey, Carlos.
This is Seth Gannon, and at first glance, he might seem like a sweet, unassuming guy, but he's actually one of the most talented debaters in the country.
You are, true to form, far too kind.
He won the national debate tournament, the Super Bowl of competitive college debate, as a junior in 2008, and he made it to the finals again the next year. Here he is celebrating his big win, and here I am, still being a virgin in college. I was a late bloomer. Now Seth is a debate and public speaking coach, a professional smooth talker. So have you watched a lot of Kellyanne Conway interviews?
As much as I can stand.
Fair. What is her secret?
With any question, she is looking for an opening to take it somewhere else, especially if she can paint the administration as the victim. She's listening for concepts that she can latch onto and go on offense.
This is Conway's bread and butter. She hears a keyword or concept she can use, repeats it to sound like she's answering the question, and then introduces a total non sequitur to trip up the host. It's like really bad improv. Watch what Conway does when Chuck Todd backs her into a corner about the size of Trump's inauguration crowd.
Look, alternative facts are not facts. They're falsehoods.
Chuck, do you think it's a fact or not that millions of people have lost their plans, their health insurance, and their doctors under President Obama? Do you think it's a fact that everything we heard...
Oof, Conway. She's not actually answering Todd's question at all, but because she repeats his word, it kind of sounds like she is. Here's another one.
You don't know what his finances are because you haven't seen his tax returns either. So you don't know who's giving him
here's
money.
What I do
How do you
know.
know the government of Qatar hasn't given him $1 million?
Here's what I do know. I know we've got the Democrats on the run, running around to blue states like...
Did she wink? Did she seriously wink? Conway. Seth says Conway is essentially preying on an interviewer's natural impulse to be polite.
For the interviewer to insist again and again on the original question and to ignore 90% of what she said in the meantime is rude.
Stop this catch and release, stop this sanctuary cities funding.
If I can just interrupt, and I hate to do that, but I have a number of things I want to ask you about.
She trusts that they're going to move on to their next topic rather than ask the same question over and over.
When Conway does have her tangents cut short, she has another trick, passing the buck. Conway doesn't actually make policy in Trump's White House, so she often gets to sidestep tough questions by saying, I don't know.
I have not been in those briefings. No, I haven't discussed this with him. You're going to have to ask him.
And when that fails, when Conway is really up against the wall, she has one last trick. Make something up.
She doesn't seem to let facts or even other administration statements stand in her way. She has this postmodern quality where words and statements that you may have heard and knew exactly what they meant Well, Kellyanne Conway has a very different interpretation of those same words.
She often reinvents Trump's positions into more defensible versions of themselves. After Trump spent weeks falsely claiming in plain language that there was widespread voter fraud, Conway went on TV and said he was actually talking about voter registration fraud, something very different.
I will tell you that what the president is talking about is registration and voter rolls. These registration rolls are a hot mess.
But that is not voter fraud.
No, but this is what the president was talking about. He's talking about registration and rolls.
No, that's not what he's talking about. That's what Conway wishes he was talking about. Jesus. And this gets to the fundamental problem with trying to interview Kellyanne Conway. The point of interviewing administration officials is to get clarity about what the president is doing, or at least believes. But Conway interviews do neither.
Once she has decided not to give meaningful answers to questions, there is no way to have a successful interview by traditional measures. There are only gradations of failure, only gradations of the non-answers you're receiving.
She is so good at dodging questions and tripping up hosts that you're likely to end up more confused and less informed at the end of one of her interviews than you were at the beginning. Conway is a master of deflection, but inviting her to wreak havoc on national TV doesn't actually help audiences better understand what's going on in their government. So the next time you find yourself yelling at your TV during a Kellyanne Conway interview, just remember, she's doing her job. It's the news shows that keep booking her that are letting you down.